Thank God it's Friday. Monday's a brand new start. Wednesday, you're halfway home, and Thursday, the weekend's not far. Saturday and Sunday, you hang with your friends. What can you say about Tuesday? Nothing, not a damn thing. Tuesday bites, Tuesday sucks, Tuesday blows, go away. Tuesday's crap, Tuesday's lame, Tuesday's dumb, go away. Tuesday, Saturday and Sunday, you hang with your friends. But what can you say about Tuesday?
Nothing. So it's going to be pretty nice outside. I'm glad I waited till today to mow the lawn. It got a little warm yesterday, up towards 90. Humid, sunny. Looks like it'll be cloudy today with a high in the lower 80s. So that's a little bit more manageable for my fat ass.
Well, things change later in the week when we get that rain. There's storms moving in later in the week, and things
Thursday.
go back down into the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, so it'll be about 83 with some clouds in the area today, in the mid-80s tomorrow, about 82 tomorrow on Thursday, but then looks like Thursday night into the overnight, we're going to have some showers and thunderstorms, and then, as Gene mentioned, dropping down into the upper 60s, maybe low 70s by the weekend.
Not bad, just a little bit different than the July we've been having in May. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all. Not bad.
I don't know if it's because it's too early in the season or what's happening, but turn the AC on, on Sunday, the Central, because I wasn't going to live like that. And sometime late Sunday afternoon.
It gave out?
No, it started to we noticed this shaking sound, this rattling sound coming from the floor. And it was sort of in a weird spot in the kitchen, and I went down to the basement to see if something was loose, like a ceiling light or something. Couldn't really figure it out. And so I started throwing breakers and turning things off to see, if it's electrical, you know what I mean? If there's a wire in there that's
where is it
hot and touching or something, you know what I mean? I don't want to burn the house down. So I'm flipping through all the breakers, and of course, one of the last ones I get to is the central AC unit, right? The furnace. And as soon as I shut it off, the rattling stopped. And then I turned it back on, and the furnace kicked back on, and, the AC started blowing in it. So I must have ductwork that is shrunk or expanded or whatever over the years that we've lived there, and now it's loose or something, and it's rattling around in the floor, in between the floor and the ceiling in the basement. So that's a new problem at our place. It's great. What's new on New Release Tuesday? We'll tell you about that. Grant Bills of the Wisco Sports Show is going to join us.
Love that guy.
And we're going to talk to Pat Smaggi, or Smaggi. I never quite did get the exact pronunciation, and he was kind of blasé about it, just sort of whatever, dude, as long as it's close.
This guy is super talented and focused.
14-time world champion stunt bike guy.
Yes.
And he's going to be at the Big River Rally at the end of June, Moto Motion Entertainment. And it's a stunt bike show doing tricks and jumps and wheelies and burnouts and all sorts of stuff.
When we were talking to him, I don't know if you remember, but at the end of the conversation, he was like, I've got my own ramps and jumps and stuff like that, but if you could get me a car, it's people really love it when I ride on top of the car and do all these jumps. I'm like, okay, I got him a car, by the way.
Well, if we can write off my truck on insurance and I can get a new one out of it, then we'll just do that.
I got a car that involves no insurance. It's just a car.
Well, Pat Smaggi, we'll hear from him a bit later on as we get ready for the Big River Rally at the end of June. We'll get to some Nothing More in just a bit.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene on your rock station.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene, back from day off visiting mom. She's good.
Yeah, we had some scheduled
Mother's Day stuff and
doctor's
some appointments.
Yeah, some doctor's appointments I needed to take her to. My sister had left yesterday, as a matter of fact, and my mother is so excited because she has a trip that they've saved for a lifetime for, and they're going to Rome, and then they're going to Switzerland, I believe.
Why wouldn't you?
Anyway, my mom was telling anybody and everybody yesterday that would listen that my sister is going to meet the Pope. And that is not
entirely true.
That's not a true.
She might, though. You don't know what kind of pope we got yet. He might be walking around.
Sure. There's no scheduled meet and greet.
He's an American pope. He's a wild card. Wild card, bitches, as Charlie Day would say.
She's in the same country as him, so that entitles my mother to tell everyone that comes in for meds
with the pope?
Or the nurse or the doctor.
My daughter is going to see the pope.
Her sister's meeting the pope.
Not her, but her sister, the one with aspirations and dreams.
She's meeting the pope. Yes, my mom.
I got reports of this yesterday morning. Didn't have a ton of information on it, and there's still not a ton of information on it yet. But in the town of Hickston, Wisconsin, the Department of Justice Division of Criminal Investigation now looking into an officer-involved shooting in Jackson County. Yesterday morning, officers with the Jackson County Sheriff's Office attempted to stop a vehicle following a call to the Sheriff's Department. The vehicle then fled, resulting in a chase that ended when the vehicle came to a stop off the road on Sand Prairie Road North in the town of Hickston. The press release says that during the encounter, an officer discharged their firearm, striking the suspect, authorities rendering aid to the suspect, who was then flown to a nearby hospital where they remain in critical condition. No law enforcement personnel hurt. And obviously an investigation is going on right now, the DCI leading that investigation. Elsewhere in Wisconsin, the Arkansas man accused of kidnapping a pregnant Beaver Dam teenager, also now facing federal charges in Arkansas, according to an indictment filed last week. The indictment filed on May 6th in the Eastern District Court in Arkansas accuses Gary Day of 2 charges of enticing a minor to engage in sexual activity, transportation of a minor to engage in criminal sexual activity, and traveling with intent to engage in unlawful sex with a minor. Also, the production of child pornography and possession of child pornography. So, I'm assuming that relates to just her and being underage, but all of it's gross and all of it's disgusting, and you hope this guy goes in a hole forever. Federal charges, by the way, on top of the state charges that were filed in Wisconsin and in Nebraska. This guy...
Well, he's traveling all over the country with this young person.
Yeah, well, came
from
here...
state to state to state to state.
Lived in Arkansas, or was from Arkansas, and then came to Wisconsin and abducted her, essentially, after he had gotten her pregnant, and then came up here and abducted her, and then was trying to get back there.
And traveling all over the place.
We had seen reports in Iowa and all sorts of different places, and yeah. But she's back home with her parents, and this guy's probably going to go to jail for a very long time. He's expected to appear in Arkansas for an arraignment and a plea hearing on May 27th. He has an arraignment hearing in Dodge County, Wisconsin on June 3rd. So there's going to be a lot of bouncing back and forth, but everybody's going to get their pound of flesh from this guy, is my guess. A man in Toma, 17 years in prison after his conviction on charges related to child sex crimes a couple of years ago. Monroe County District Attorney Kevin Croninger said 23-year-old Damon Verkin also received 23 years of extended supervision following his release from prison. Verkin also placed on the sex offender registry for life. Back on May 8th, he pled guilty to charges including sexual assault of a child, exploitation of a child, and using a computer to facilitate a child sex crime. Toma police investigators building their case against Verkin regarding the offenses against 4 juveniles that happened between January and July of 2023. Excuse me, still dealing with this cough.
Yeah.
Elsewhere in the state of Wisconsin, the DMV.
What about this? Is this the Real ID thing?
No. The Wisconsin transportation officials estimate nearly $37 million in fraud loss from odometer rollbacks just last year alone.
Like they're fining sellers for doing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't realize this, but yesterday was National Odometer Day. Odometer Day. There
127 something. I looked yesterday on my way home from
the Wisconsin Department of Transportation, DMV, asking car buyers to verify their vehicle mileage before they buy. They explain that odometer rollback means someone disconnected, reset, or changed the vehicle's odometer to change the number of miles indicated on it. That practice obviously is becoming more and more common as they try to sell the car for more money and make a bigger nut. But
so wrong and so mad.
DMV dealer and agent section chief said illegally manipulating odometers to roll back the mileage numbers before sale has been around for decades. Today's fraudsters, however, have kept pace with technology and essentially hacked the vehicle's computer to change the mileage. This puts the new owner at risk. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, you think you're buying a relatively expensive used car with 40 or 50,000 miles on it, and you're like, oh, this will last me for a long time, and it really has 80 or 90 or 100. Yeah. Oh, my gosh, I'm so Angry.
Got a request for some cake. We'll get to that in a couple of minutes. Right now, it's nothing more.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find them online at rockmornings.com.
That is cake by request. Somebody said, any way to get some cake? I know you love them. LOL. I do. It was Zach. Thank you, Zach. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Jim texted in and said, put that guy under the prison. I don't know which one you were talking about. There was a couple of guys in there.
Maybe the federal charges against
the Gary Day guy or the guy from Toma. I don't know. Maggie down in Prairie du Chien texted in and said, love me a little cake in the morning. The nice thing about cake is it's usually just a little bit of cake because they're only about 3 minutes long.
It's not a long piece of cake.
They're kind of like a weird punk rock band in that sense where most of their tunes are terse, a little short. It's Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. If you want to get in touch with us, find us online at rockmornings.com for all our contact info. You can listen to the show live on the website. You can also like and subscribe to the daily podcast. The Brew Crew lost to the Guardians last night, 5-0.
Book it. The Guardians are back in the win column. After dropping the last 2 games to Philly, they opened the series with Milwaukee and beat them 5-0.
Yeah, the Brewers' 4th loss in their last 5 games. Same 2 teams tonight, 5:10 first pitch. Meanwhile, NBA last night.
The Minnesota Timberwolves lead the Golden State Warriors 3-1, a chance to close it out on Wednesday night back in the Twin Cities. The Wolves have the most road wins in the postseason the last 2 years.
Minnesota, a 3-1 series lead on the Golden State Warriors thanks to a 117-110 win. The early game also resulting in a loss for the Celtics. The Knicks beat the Celtics 121-113. They take a commanding 3-1 series lead there. And the big story out of that game is the Jason Tatum injury.
Jaylen Brown back in, lost the ball. Anunoby all by himself throws it down. And Tatum is hurt. Tatum is down. He wants a timeout. Tatum in so much pain.
Ugh.
And the Celtics call timeout, grabbing that right ankle. And that's the final timeout for the Boston Celtics. But more importantly, Tatum really shaken up. That last sequence, turning the ankle. And you see the concern on Al Horford and the Celtics' faces.
He called a timeout there himself.
Jason Tatum carried off the court late in the 4th quarter. Celtics struggling to keep up with the Knicks and suffered a non-contact lower leg injury, grabbing at his ankle, spinning around on the floor, obviously in a lot of pain. He was helped to his feet, carried off the court onto a wheelchair. Head coach Joe Mazzulla said Tatum would undergo an MRI today, but they're guessing that it's an Achilles tear.
Oh, something bad. It's not a little tiny thing if you're rolling around like that.
Non-contact injuries are always bad. Tonight in the NBA, Indiana is at Cleveland, 6 p.m. on TNT for Game 5 of that series. Pacers up 3-1, could close it out and move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. Denver is at Oklahoma City tonight at 8:30 on TNT. Game 5 of that series. That's tied up 2 apiece. NHL last night, Carolina Hurricanes.
The net is empty. Here comes Svechnikov. He scores! Into the empty net. 5-2, Carolina.
That would be the final score as the Hurricanes take care of Washington 5-2 and have a 3-1 series lead there. Edmonton in the late game blanking Vegas 3-0. They also have a 3-1 series lead. Tonight in the NHL, just one game. Winnipeg at Dallas at 7 o'clock. That game on ESPN. It's game 4 of that series. So, the Stars are leading 2-1. Giannis
Antetokounmpo.
The NBA player Giannis Antetokounmpo caught my eye.
Bucks star Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Milwaukee's Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Milwaukee star Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis Antetokounmpo.
And with Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Giannis Antetokounmpo. 20 points.
Yeah. This is obviously a story that has been lingering for a while now. We've talked to Grant Bills about it in the past, and it's definitely going to be the story going forward for the Bucks, as Giannis has not made any firm decision on his Bucks future after the franchise's 3rd consecutive postseason exit in the first round. But for the first time in his career, Antetokounmpo is now open-minded about exploring whether his best long-term fit is remaining in Milwaukee or going somewhere else. And yeah, we'll obviously talk to Grant Bills about that after 8 o'clock this morning. See what his reaction is to that quote-unquote news. I didn't think it was much news because it seemed pretty obvious that he was unhappy and that might be the case. He was going to take his talent somewhere else. Sports on Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. We'll let you know what's new on New Release Tuesday in a bit. Also going to get to some Pop Evil. And again, you can get in touch with us by visiting rockmornings.com.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene on your rock station.
Sure. Buy low, sell high. Oh, wait. It's dropping. Never mind, it's up. Should we break out the party hats? No, make that painkillers. No, confetti. Nope, make that antidepressants. Hold on. It's going up again. I mean down. It's a seesaw yo-yo on a roller coaster with a blindfold. Have you considered asking for a dad joke instead? Honestly, it's safer. At least dad jokes only crash your dignity.
This stock market tips there from Alexa.
Yeah.
Up, down, and all around.
Uh-huh.
Television tonight, third season finale of Will Trent on ABC, followed by the seventh season finale of The Rookie. Are you really The Rookie after 7 seasons?
I don't think you can
get
call
upgraded
that
to like
yes.
the veteran? Is there a
veteran middle?
7 years, man, of being a cop? Isn't that what the show's about? He's a rookie cop?
Definitely not a rookie.
Also on NBC tonight, The Voice live semifinal results, followed by Joan Rivers, a Dead Funny All-Star tribute. Not quite sure where this came from. I don't know if there's some kind of like induction into a Hall of Fame or something, or if her birthday's coming up, but they're doing some kind of all-star tribute to Joan Rivers. She's been dead for like a decade,
I was
right?
just going to say, why is this a thing now?
Celebrities paying homage to Joan Rivers include Chelsea Handler, Tiffany Haddish, Rachel Brosnahan, Neil Patrick Harris, Sarah Silverman, Bill Maher, Aubrey Plaza, Howie Mandel, Tracy Morgan, Nikki Glazer, Patton Oswalt, Joe McHale, and others.
You look like Steven Tyler the life raft.
Unfortunately, Greg Giraldo will not be there. Also on TV today, the streaming premiere of Novocaine on Paramount Plus.
So, what's your deal?
My deal? I'm just a regular guy with a regular job, but I've got this condition where I don't feel pain.
Hey, there we go.
Oh my God, you're a superhero.
No.
Can you feel this?
Definitely feeling something.
Oh my. Jack Quaid from The Boys playing a guy who feels no pain and goes after some bank robbers after they take his girlfriend hostage. Novocaine, streaming premiere of that on Paramount Plus today. Also, the series finale of Andor on Disney Plus. New episodes of The Cleaning Lady, FBI, Alert Missing Persons Unit, FBI International, and FBI Most Wanted. Late night shows include Fallon, talking to Blake Shelton, Kimmel's and Repeats, Colbert's New with Alexander Skarsgård, Brian Cox, and Father James Martin. John Krasinski and Reba McEntire on with Seth Meyers tonight. That's what's on the boob tube. It's also New Release Tuesday, big one coming out today.
What do we know?
There were 5 shooters. This was a coordinated terrorist attack, sir.
I was a wartime general. Now I'm a wartime president.
Your inner circle's been compromised. Let me fix it.
Watch yourself. You're not Steve Rogers.
You're right. I'm not.
Captain America Brave New World, PG-13, new on New Release Tuesday. Anthony Mackie, Harrison Ford, Giancarlo Esposito, Liv Tyler. The new Captain America finds himself in the middle of an international incident, must discover the motive behind a nefarious global plan. We got a Red Hulk. There's a new Hulk.
I watched Havoc.
Yeah, the Tom Hardy movie. It felt like watching a video game.
Dude, it was too...
They never ran out of bullets. I always have an issue with that in movies. And I cannot suspend belief. Like, I love a good shoot-'em-up action movie. But
me too. I'm not trying to be a purist here, but
at least try
Lord.
to fake it a little bit. I mean, he had a handgun and it just shot like 4,000 bullets. Come on, man.
Well, there was so many bullets and so many. I mean, it was just bullets and dead people. My husband walked through the room and he goes, "What are you watching?" And I, like you said, good action, shoot 'em up, whatever. It felt like from when they started shooting They just kept shooting till the end of the shooting in the road, shooting in the club, shooting in the car, shooting in the thing, shooting in the thing.
My thing with the reloading is
oh my gosh,
either do it or don't do it. Because there were parts in the movie where they did reload, and there was a scene, a typical trope in an action film where the gun runs out of bullets, and she goes to fire at the guy and click, and it's like you just spent 1,000 rounds in a 9-round clip, and now all of a sudden you don't have bullets. Give me an effing break. You can't put that trope in the movie. It's just, you can't. Also on DVD today for New Release Tuesday, Mickey 17.
Expendable. You're here to be expended. Every time I died, they just printed me out again. Everyone asks, what's it feel like to die?
That is Robert Pattinson, birthday boy today. Happy birthday, Robert Pattinson. Steve Yeun, Naomi Ackie, Mark Ruffalo, Toni Collette, a human expedition to colonize space. Mickey 17, a so-called expendable employee, is set to explore an ice planet and then finds out he's got a bunch of clones and yada, yada, yada. Also rated R on DVD today, new for New Release Tuesday, Black Bag.
I watch her, I assume she watches me. I would do anything for you.
Would you?
Yes.
If a situation presents itself, would you choose your marriage over everything else?
My devotion to my marriage is my professional weakness.
Michael Fassbender, Kate Blanchett, Naomi Harris, Pierce Brosnan. Intelligence agent Catherine Woodhouse, suspected of betraying the nation. Her husband, also a legendary agent, now must face the ultimate test of whether to be loyal to his marriage or his country. Also new on New Release Tuesday, rated R, Better Man. This is the movie about Robbie Williams, the English singer guy, where he's played by a monkey, like a CGI monkey. It looks like the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life.
All right.
Bridget Jones, Mad About the Boy, rated R, Renee Zellweger, Hugh Grant. This is what, the final one, the fourth one, something like that. Also, Dune Prophecy Season 1 and Landman Season 1 out on DVD today for New Release Tuesday. So, plenty of stuff to watch if you want to sit inside with the air conditioning. It's going to be pretty nice today, though. Not too bad compared to yesterday where it was a little bit warmer.
This is great. This is weather, but we're getting a little bit more seasonable for mid-May by the weekend in the 60s and 70s, but another couple days. Sunny right now, but maybe clouds by this afternoon. No rain now in the forecast, it looks like, till Thursday, and then some wind on Friday.
We've got a lot to get to yet, including Grant Bills of the Wisco Sports Show. We'll talk to him about 8:15. We're going to hear from our interview with Pat Smaggi of Moto Motion Entertainment, part of the stunt show at the Big River Rally. And, of course, want to hear from you as well. rockmornings.com, all our contact info. Got an email from Mark. It's his birthday today. He says, good morning, Brian and Gene. Today is my birthday. Wondering if I could hear some Texas Hippie Coalition.
There is a lot of birthdays in May, including...
Can't wait to go see them in June.
Excited about that. That is the 27th, and that will be at Big River Rally. Tickets are $30 for the whole weekend, so that includes Drowning Pool for that one low price.
Hit up BigRiverRally.com for tickets and info. Mark, we'll get to your THC in just a bit. Right now, it's Bush.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find them online at rockmornings.com.
Chili, Soul to Squeeze, Rock Mornings, Brian and Gene. They, of course, are from California. They love California. They sing about California. They write a lot of songs about California.
It's in their blood.
They're very California-centric.
That's true.
And in the state of California, San Francisco to be exact, animal control officers rescuing 3 baby raccoons. Oh,
stuck in a dumpster or what?
No, they got stuck in a wall outside of the Chase Center, which is where the Golden State Warriors play basketball. And, there was 2 of them that were able to make their way out very easily, but the third one apparently got stuck a little bit, and they had to remove a tile or 2. But, yeah, very cute little baby raccoons going to the Humane Society now and getting taken care of. But babies were taken to the Yggdrasil, the Urban Wildlife Rescue for Care and Rehab. I don't even know how to. It's YGGDRASIL.
Okay.
Yeah, but San Francisco Animal Care and Control officers called out to the Chase Center to rescue a family of 3 baby raccoons found stuck in a wall. Not sure what they were doing in there, but they got out, thankfully. 5 guys were stuck in the ocean for 55 days.
Ugh.
Almost 2 months.
Like a fishing
on a fishing boat.
Yes.
Yeah, not a big, huge, ocean liner here or a yacht. We're talking about a fishing boat. The 5 men spent 55 days adrift at sea, and they arrived on Saturday at a port in the Galapagos Islands after being rescued by a tuna boat. The 3 Peruvians, 2 Colombians, missing since mid-March, found on May 7th by the Ecuadorian tuna boat. Vladimir, Jose, Johnny, all arriving at the San Cristobal Navy base in the morning. Conditions stable, apparently. They had reported damage to the boat's alternator 2 days after setting sail.
I'm shocked they were all
Navy said it's
still
coordinating
alive.
with local and foreign authorities to ensure their safe return to their respective countries. But yeah, they're just out there afloat. Motor don't work. Just got to wait it out. Hope you see somebody. And eventually a tuna boat came by. Remember the guy, 95 days?
Mm-hmm.
It was another
He was a solo expert.
Peruvian fisherman. He was out there by himself.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, these 5 guys were out there for 55 days, almost 2 months.
And they all lived. That's to tell the tale.
You got to assume they've got some. I mean, if there's 5 guys on a boat, they've got to have some food or rations or something on there, right?
Yeah, but for maybe a day or two, they
and
don't
then you're
intend
catching.
to go.
Then you're
there.
catching fish. You're eating fish. the whole
Maybe
time. You would hope.
Water.
You're on a fishing boat.
Water.
Yeah, it rains.
Does it? Sometimes. Hasn't rained here for 10 days.
This is potentially the craziest thing I've ever heard of. The longest triathlon ever. Running, swimming, biking, right? And it's a 31-year-old former Royal Marine from the UK. And he just completed it. More than 8,000 miles over the course of 8 months. The guy's name is Mitch Hutchcraft, and he started last September. He swam the English Channel. Then he rode a bike 7,500 miles from Europe to India.
Oh, my gosh.
Then he walked or ran over 500 miles to Nepal and finished on Sunday by climbing Mount Everest. Yeah. He did it, by the way, to raise money for a group called SavSim. It's a charity in the UK that protects wildlife and also works with veterans.
Day 1, swimming the English Channel. 18 hours, 19 minutes. From there, I cycled 12,000 K across 18 countries to the ocean. Then from there, a couple of days later, I then ran 900 K. And then from Kathmandu, it was a 360 K trek from there to where we are now at base camp. I never dreamed I'd be coming to Everest, doing the longest climb in history. That was just kind of happened. But, the kind of letting people down, people who've been following my journey, letting myself down more than anything, that's kind of what scares me. But I'm focused now.
Although I lost my dad 11 years ago, he was with me every step of the way. It's been tough, really tough, the most difficult thing I've ever done, but I couldn't be happier and more proud of finishing this epic adventure.
I was kind of sore last night from putting bark mulch in the gardens and power washing my fence. Just saying.
Yeah. Well, I think Mitch has got you beat there.
Mm-hmm.
SavSim is the name of the group that he was doing all this for, to raise money and awareness for wildlife and for veterans, and all good causes. It's a lot of running, a lot of biking, a lot of swimming. A lot. And then he climbed Mount Everest at the end just for an aperitif.
I know.
Just for a little after dinner
drink. When I got done with that, I thought I'd do a mountain,
We'll hear from our interview with Pat Smaggi in just a couple of minutes, who is going to be at the Big River Rally at the end of June. Moto Motion Entertainment, stunt show, bike jumps and burnouts and all sorts of crazy stuff. So we'll hear from him and our interview with him in just a bit.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Start your day with Rock Mornings.
Happy International Hummus Day.
Love me some hummus.
You have a favorite flavor?
Right now I have lemon in my fridge, but I wouldn't say that's necessarily my favorite.
We had a little Mother's Day get-together and bought, there's like a spinach and artichoke hummus with the little peppery thing in the middle. It was good. It's also National Apple Pie Day. I think that's the actual apple pie, not the drink. National Crouton Day. I don't do without croutons. Top Gun Day. Feel the need.
1, 2, back-to-back, both.
Need
marathon.
for speed. You're supposed to complete the circle there. Also, National Leprechaun Day. Not quite sure why you celebrate leprechauns on May 13th, but seems like maybe St. Patty's Day would be a better day for Leprechaun Day. But there you go. International Hummus Day. We're just about a month and a half away from the Big River Rally, which is on June 27th and 28th in the Cooley region. And there's a lot going on. Last week, we, of course, announced that the Budweiser Clydesdales, world-famous Budweiser Clydesdales, are going to be a part of the event.
They are.
Big unit, Bill Michaels, going to be riding on Saturday after the Veterans Breakfast, which is hosted by Lou Brutus of Hard Drive XL.
Everyone's invited to that breakfast, by the way. Pancakes and some coffee, and we'll enjoy that down on the grounds that morning with the benefits going to veterans' causes.
Yeah, and then Bill Michaels will lead the ride down to Viola to S&S Cycle, where they're going to have a mini tour, and they're going to have some bikes on display.
Dude, I looked into those bikes a little bit more. These bikes they're only like at Daytona and Sturgis, and then this
very unique and rare to see them in person.
And you can read about the builders and they're incredible, and they're only out a few times a year, and they're going to be at S&S. They're also going to open up the factory for some tours. The museum will be open. I mean, it's really a special day out there in Viola.
Also, of course, lots of live music from Drowning Pool and Texas Hippie Coalition, Bobby Friss, and more. All the details and tickets online at BigRiverRally.com. One of the other events that's really exciting is the Moto Motion Entertainment Stunt Show featuring a guy from Wisconsin. Didn't know that.
I didn't either.
I had no idea where he came from, but found out that he's from Elkhorn. So a couple hours away. He's apparently been here a number of times, and we talked to Pat Smaji last week, and you can hear our entire interview with him online at rockmornings.com. But a couple of clips from that interview. Here he is talking about how he got started in the world of biking and motorcycles.
Well, I started on bicycles when I was really young, did some BMX racing locally and just riding around our farm, and then that transitioned to motorcycles since my dad was into it. Then I got a trials motorcycle when I was 10 and got hooked on the competition side of things. I took that to a pretty far level, did a lot of national competitions. I'm still doing that, did some world competitions, and then also ended up on America's Got Talent at one point, and that kind of boosted our show side of things. So I've been doing shows along with competitions for quite a while now.
Yeah, so kind of like everybody else, right? Got started loving being outdoors on his farm with his dad and his brother, riding bikes, got a motorcycle when he was about 10, and it just went from there. Love affair of riding bikes and doing all the cool stuff, and he's a super-duper outdoorsy guy from the sounds of it. Pat Smaji, Moto Motion Entertainment Stunt Show coming to the Big River Rally, courtesy of Rod's Ride on Power Sports. And whenever you talk to guys that drive cars, ride motorcycles, do stunts, you want to find out about the injuries, right? The crashes, the burns, the Evel Knievel's, the guys that take the risks.
Sure.
And so asked him about his biggest injury of all time.
You'd actually be surprised. Trials is a relatively safe sport if you do it right. So my worst injury riding a trials bike was probably a broken foot, mainly because I still deal with the pain today because I didn't let it heal long enough. But you can learn how to crash also as you get better. You learn when you need to back out of it, jump off the bike, and either ditch the bike or hopefully someone's there to catch it, or a lot of times you can catch it yourself.
Pat Smaji from Moto Motion Entertainment coming to the Big River Rally for the Bike Stunt Show. And you can find out more about him, see his promotional video by going to BigRiverRally.com. You can hear our entire interview with him by going to RockMornings.com. Here he is talking about some of his other hobbies. Like, do you go to Brewer games? Do you whittle wood? I mean, like, what is a guy that's into bikes and all that stuff like to do?
So besides bikes, it may sound funny, but I really like RC cars. There's a lot of different ways you can have fun with them, and I have a bunch of them. So racing on a track, crawling in the woods, all kinds of stuff like that. Yeah, if I'm not riding a bike, I'm probably driving an RC car.
Very interesting dude.
Super interesting.
Again, America's Got Talent, I believe, with his brother, and they did some kind of performance, and you were watching it when we were talking to him.
Rides with his brother Phil on the Smagey Brothers riding shows and been a champion, an NATC trials champ in the United States. Also internationally, he's competed as well. So he's made a life and a career out of this fun thing he started doing when he was 10 or 11 years old, and now he's one of the best at it in the world.
What do they say? Do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life? Well, it sounds like that's the guy. Coming all the way from Elkhorn to La Crosse for the Big River Rally, Pat Smagey. Hear our entire interview with him online at rockmornings.com and head to bigriverrally.com to get your tickets and all the info on the Big River Rally.
2 performances on Friday night, 4 performances on Saturday for Moto Motion as part of Big River Rally.
Is the ones on Friday at Rod's, or are they down at the fest?
They're down at the fest grounds.
Okay, but
down
Rod's is
sponsoring. Correct. Well,
Gotcha.
after the ride that we're doing that leaves on Friday from Rod's that afternoon, Friday afternoon, it's going to go up and down the River Road and then come back to the grounds and see him perform.
Gotcha. All right. BigRiverRally.com for all the details. Mark emailed us earlier because it's his birthday today, and he wanted to hear some Texas Hippie Coalition who are going to be here for the Big River Rally. So here you go.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find the daily podcast at rockmornings.com.
Turn it up from the Texas Hippie Coalition for Mark, celebrating his birthday today. Looking forward to seeing them at the Big River Rally, along with Drowning Pool.
Band Outlaws, they are called.
Well, sounds like it. Sports on Rock Mornings. You got the Brewers losing to the Guardians last night, 5-0. They're 4th in their last 5 games. Same 2 teams tonight at 5-10. Knicks over the Celtics last night, 121-113. They now have a 3-1 series lead.
That's crazy, isn't it?
That series shifts to Boston. Minnesota taking a 3-1 series lead on the Golden State Warriors thanks to a 117-110 win. Tonight in the NBA, Indiana at Cleveland, 6 p.m. on TNT for Game 5 of that series. It's a must-win for the Cavs. Pacers are up 3-1, looking to end that series and move to the Eastern Conference Finals. Denver, Oklahoma City. That's at 8:30 on TNT. That's Game 5. That series tied up at 2 games apiece. NHL tonight, just 1 game. The Winnipeg Jets at the Dallas Stars, 7 p.m. on ESPN. For Game 4, Stars are up 2-1 in that series. NBC announcing yesterday that Hall of Famer Michael Jordan will be a special contributor to their NBA coverage beginning this fall.
Really? Okay.
They said, a legendary addition to our team. We're thrilled to welcome Michael Jordan as a special contributor to the NBA on NBC and Peacock. Not quite sure what is involvement, how often, like what times, what games. Obviously that'll all flesh out as they get closer and closer to the season. Also, the NFL schedule day, I think, is tomorrow? Either today or tomorrow, but some games are already getting leaked. They announced yesterday that the reigning Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles will host the Dallas Cowboys.
How about them Cowboys?
On Thursday night, September 4th, in the NFL's 2025 regular season opener. The game will be on NBC, marking the first Week 1 meeting between the NFC rivals since 2000, when Andy Reid coached the Eagles, and they went to a 41-14 win at Texas Stadium against the Cowboys. Meanwhile, another game got announced this morning, just a few minutes ago. Eagles in Green Bay, November 10th, to take on the Packers.
Interesting.
Monday Night Football.
So they're leaking these games? Because isn't the full schedule this week?
This tends to happen, that games get leaked, and
Because I thought it was Wednesday night.
An official release is on Wednesday night. But,
okay, all right.
The Kentucky Derby winner, the jockey, apparently the fine that we were talking about was not the exact amount. Apparently it's almost twice that. So Sovereignty's victory in the Kentucky Derby has now been tainted because he was whipped too much. Whip it good.
Isn't it like 8 times in the entire race, or is it 6? Okay.
He whipped him 8 instead of 6. The Horse Racing Integrity and Safety Authority allows riders to whip their horses 6 times during the race, which is 2 minutes long?
Mm-hmm.
But Sovereignty's jockey, Junior Alvarado, smacked him 8 times. Apparently that was the second time that he violated that rule in 180 days. So he's a repeat offender. He's a habitual line stepper. And because of that, he was fined $62,000, which is 20% of his Derby winnings. And he also got suspended for 2 racing days. Junior knows he messed up. He says, I couldn't keep track of that. It's such a big race. There's so much you've got on your mind.
Yeah, I'm sure of that, but
you'd think that with all the practice that
that's
you'd
what
like,
I'm saying.
you know what I mean? Like it would just be instinctual.
You wouldn't necessarily think of that. You wouldn't even be counting, but
no, I'd just be whipping the horse the whole damn time. Whap, 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 go faster. But
if that's your job,
professional,
and you train and you practice and you do all that, you've got to keep count. You can't be like, I don't know, I lost count.
The Kansas City Chiefs superfan has now been sentenced in an Oklahoma courtroom to 32 years in prison. This is the crazy guy that robbed all the banks. Xavier Babudar, sentenced in an Oklahoma courtroom yesterday to 32 years in prison, 2.5 years after authorities caught him in the state of Oklahoma as he fled from a local bank. Babudar, who was known as Chiefsaholic, is already serving a 17.5-year federal sentence for robbing banks in 7 states from 22 to 23. But the Tulsa County District Attorney's Office wanted him to serve more time and sought a life sentence for the 30-year-old. His sentence is concurrent, meaning he'll serve an additional 14.5 years in an Oklahoma penitentiary after his federal term ends. The district attorney there said, quote, it was offensive to me that a serial robber could victimize as many hardworking Americans as this guy did all across the country and only receive 17.5 years from the federal government. Do I have to move to Oklahoma where they take the law seriously? I like it.
Yeah. How many banks do you have to rob?
All of them, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And last but not least, after all of his Olympic medals were destroyed in the LA fires earlier this year, I don't know if you remember this, obviously a lot of people losing their homes and their lives and their pets and their possessions and all the stuff. But swimming great Gary Hall Jr. got 10 medals on Monday. Said, I'll do a better job of taking care of these. Got a new set of 5 golds, 3 silvers, and 2 bronzes that he earned swimming for the U.S. at 3 summer games from 96 to 2004. The original medals burned 4 months ago at his home in the Pacific Palisades area of the city that will host the next summer games in 2028. So they got a lot of work to do to try to put all that back together.
But he got them replaced.
But the Olympic Committee, the IOC, said, we'll take care of it.
Yeah, we'll get those replaced for you, which is great, which is obviously.
Well, as we've talked about numerous times, a lot of those homeowners didn't have but minutes to get out of their house before things became untenable. So, obviously, yeah, you want to try to remember the important stuff, but when it's down to my medals or my kid or my dog, yeah, probably going to leave and get in the car and take off right away. Sports on Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. We've got our buddy Grant Bills coming up a bit later on. Do that just after 8 o'clock. Also some Wage War and Scott Stapp in a bit.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Weekdays, 6 to 9.
I bought a pair of Crocs once. This is like when they first kind of started to become a thing. Because I started to see a lot of people wearing them. And everybody raved about how comfortable they were. And I'm not a big flip-flop guy. But I do like a slip-on, like slider, as opposed to like in the middle of the toe flip-flop. Just for around the house, maybe in the backyard occasionally. So I bought a pair, didn't like them, never bought another pair. Wore them maybe twice.
My daughter has a pair that are fleece-lined.
Okay.
That she would wear for dance. When we'd leave our house
Before she had to put her shoes on?
Yes, to go into dance. And they're just kind of around the house. I've wore them many, 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 many times to take the garbage out, or, you know what I mean, in the wintertime to maybe I'm just going running here or outside to run there. They're like, kind of like a slipper, but yet they're plastic on the outside.
Right, so they have a little bit of weather guard.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
but not like to the store or anything, not out.
They're huge.
They're out at home.
I mean, they're trying to outlaw them in schools, right? That's the deal?
Yeah, well, they can get wet. They're functionable. Very colorful.
Kids are decorating them and all that crap, and schools don't like that. Well, Crocs are not going anywhere. They're very popular, even if I don't wear them. And
yes, they are.
And you don't wear them. But apparently there's a hack that's been around for a couple of years that you can wash your Crocs in the dishwasher. But a guy in Australia is going viral because he doesn't do it in an empty dishwasher. He does it full of dishes. And so people are kind of freaking out about it.
I heard you can wash your Crocs in the dishwasher, so I'm going to try it. Check back when they're done. Actually spotless. Look at this. My only worry is they've shrunk. So I'm going to let them cool, and then I'll try them on. Lucky they were a little too roomy. So now they fit perfectly, but they shrunk.
So because the water gets so hot in the dishwasher, apparently the plastic Crocs shrank. But people online are freaking out because this guy apparently popped them in there with a whole load of dishes. Knives, forks, plates, cups, stuff that's covered in pizza.
I don't know. I mean, I get it. I understand why people are freaked out, but it's all hot and it's getting sanitized. And at the end, in theory, it would be no worse than putting rotting food, something that was...
Yeah. I mean, the hack works because the Crocs did come out spotless.
And that's not an ideal process.
He, of course, said, I don't know if you heard, his Crocs shrunk a little bit because of the heat.
How about the washing machine?
You do that
seems
as well.
A lot more...
I put my sneakers in there every once in a while.
All the time.
But Anthony DiPaolo is the guy's name. He went on Instagram to show how he cleans his Crocs in the dishwasher. He pops them in with all the rest of the dirty dishes before removing them to find out they're as clean as new, but a little bit smaller. They're actually spotless. Commenters on the video, of course, not too pleased. More than 1 million views.
Yeah, nobody wants to see that.
One person said, not with the other dishes.
Yeah.
Another person says, with all the dishes, who does that? This is why you can't eat at anybody's house. Somebody else said, mate, that is rank. Some people accuse him of posting rage bait, doing this on purpose to try to get a bunch of comments.
I would say.
But he's not the only person who's done it. There's, of course, people posting hacks about cleaning their Crocs all over TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. And yeah, I'm not putting my shoes in the dishwasher. Hats, you can put hats in there, right? That's a thing.
No, again, washing machine. You can put all that stuff in the washing machine. I don't understand why you'd put it in the dishwasher, I guess, other than to have bait rage.
How often do you, but speaking of that, how often do you clean your vent behind the dryer? So there should be a tube, right? Like a
yes,
malleable
it's connected to that.
tube
Never.
from the. Okay.
The tube from the back of my dryer? Never.
To like the wall?
Never.
Okay.
The vent or the lint thing?
So
every time I do a load of laundry.
Okay. Can I make a recommendation?
Never. I never. Every couple years, it blows itself off the back of the dryer and there's crap everywhere and I got to deal with that and get it connected again and figure out how to make that stay. So every once in a while, it self-cleans. How's that? By blowing itself all over the place?
Okay.
Never. I just learned a couple years ago that there's a filter in your dishwasher that needs to get cleaned.
Yeah, you got to take it out. It's got all the food trapping in it.
Learned that just a couple years ago.
You can grow mushrooms in there if you're not careful.
Just a couple of years ago.
Humidity and the darkness. Yeah,
didn't know that.
Well, let's just say that for the first time in the 6 years that we've lived in this house.
You took that apart?
Well, the wife had complained about the dryer not, and the dryer's always, because they're super efficient, right? So they don't really work.
She's like, hey, this doesn't seem to be
drying. You can't just put it in there for 4 hours. You know what I mean? Like the old dryers, you'd be like, yeah, hell yeah, hammer it for 2 hours. Come out hot. You know what I mean? Steaming hot. Now it's all economical and all ergonomical and all that crap. So the dryer decides how long it wants to run, and it's got sensors inside that says, oh, these towels are finished. When you open it up, it's like, no, they're not finished. So it's always kind of been an issue, but it seems to have gotten worse. I've always had to put my clothes, like a load of my clothes, in the dryer for a normal cycle. And then after that's done, a speed cycle, which is about 25 minutes. And then it's everything.
You can't just set it for a certain amount of time on medium, high, or low?
No. We got all push buttons and
I know,
dings
so
and
do
dongs
I.
and bells.
But I can set the thing. I can say this. I want it on low for 25.
Maybe we can, but I've never looked into it. Honestly, they come with Bluetooth too.
And then you go, okay, this is how long I think this load will take on high. This will
Trust
take
me,
a
man. If I could get the old ka-chunk, with the coin, I'd go for that.
No, I can set my time. I never use the settings. I just know how long it takes to dry.
It apparently had been noticeably was getting
inefficient.
Worse, according to her. So Sunday in the morning, after I was, doing a bunch of stuff, I decided I'd go, I got a few minutes and I'll go down and check this thing out. You should clean it. I'm just saying. It was only 6 years and it was full. I mean, there's that pipe and it was only, 2 feet from the back. It goes in the bottom of the dryer on the back.
I know,
and
exactly.
It goes up into the wall.
And then out the thing.
And then it goes outside.
Yes.
And there's certainly always, some gathering there on the outside vent. But there was a lot inside that tube. A lot. And it just it's like the inside of a pipe, with grease and stuff.
It self-cleans every couple of years. It just blows itself around.
I don't know why you wouldn't.
Like
it's a quick and easy operation. All you got to do is,
guys?
if you've got a clamp on it, you unscrew the clamp, you pull it off, you reach in there, you scoop it all out. It's just lint.
Looking through.
Yeah, it went from yay big to about yay big. That's how much it went down in just 6 years. So, FYI. Not that I'm some kind of
dryer expert.
Home do-it-yourself dryer expert guy, but just from personal experience this weekend.
Clean that tube.
I don't think the personal blowout thing is a way to deal with that situation. Just a suggestion. It couldn't hurt, right? Just to open it up, take a look. Stabbing Westward.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find them online at rockmornings.com.
Right around 8:15 on Tuesdays, we are joined by the one and only host of the Wisco Sports Show, Grant Bills. You can hear the Wisco Sports Show weekday afternoons from 4 until 6 p.m. on stations like WKTY in La Crosse and Sports Talk 105.1 in Eau Claire. Not to mention the Facebook page and the YouTube Live and all that crap. You got all sorts of channels, man.
Wow. You really have a way about you describing things to your listeners, Simpson. But yeah, lots of plays to watch and listen, which is especially important this week because the Brewers are playing earlier because they're in the more eastern part of the country. So they're starting like an hour or two earlier, which means some of our affiliates that also carry the Brewers, like WK2I, if you want to listen to my show, you need to find another way to do it.
Yeah,
so I appreciate you shouting that out.
5:10 first pitch tonight for the Brewer Crew, who lost. Got blanked for the first time this season, I believe, right? Was that the first shutout of the season for the Brewers? 5-0 yesterday?
God, I wish it was the first shutout. I think it was, it's funny, I think it was either the third or the fourth time, honestly. I think they've been shut out a couple of times.
But they've lost, 4 of their last 5, and they got a couple more games on this road trip, and then they're back home, and just sort of middling like everybody else. It doesn't feel like, and we've talked about this, it doesn't seem like anything's going anybody's way, really.
I actually think that their record is better than they deserve or better than it should be for how poorly they've played at times. And they've dealt with injuries mostly to their pitching staff, but I don't really think the pitching has been the problem. They can't hit. They can't hit at all. They don't hit the ball hard. They don't hit the ball with power. They don't slug. This is actually, in terms of OPS plus, it's just one statistic, I know. This is actually one of the 5 worst Brewers teams of all time. Oof. And we're only through, 2 or 3 months? I don't even know. We're only through a portion of the season, so that could change. But this team is a bunch of noodle bats. They just can't hit the ball. So when you're not hitting home runs or you're not hitting balls in the gap or to the wall, you shrink your margin of error so small, you have to play perfect defense. Mm-hmm. And you need to get every call, right? You can't suffer any bad luck, and none of your pitchers can ever have a bad outing. So they've just really backed themselves into a corner. I actually think their record should be worse than what it is based on the way that they've played and what team I believe that they are through, the first 2 months of the season.
Not quite sure if you saw, but the NFL schedule starts to leak out a little bit, even though, the official release is tomorrow?
Yeah, the official release is tomorrow night, but we always do this. It always comes out in dribs and drabs, Fox announces this and NFL Network. It's well, then why are we doing a schedule release show? What is the point of it then? It's annoying.
We found out yesterday that the season opener, which is never really a big surprise, you always know it's going to be the Super Bowl defending, champions, usually at home against a rival or maybe a team they faced in the playoffs and had a good matchup with in the previous season. And this year it's an NFC East matchup between the Eagles and the Cowboys. on September 4th. And then a couple months later, the Eagles coming to Lambeau for a Monday Nighter on November 10th. Did you see that this morning?
I did see that this morning. I also saw that I think all of the international games came out. So some people thought that maybe Steelers-Packers would be a double, and that's going to be the Vikings, which had been reported as well. Why couldn't we get the Commanders to play the Eagles on opening night? That'd be a lot sexier than the Cowboys, don't you think? Like, not from a TV sense, because obviously they're a market. You know what I mean? Say what you want. The Commanders made it further into the playoffs, and they're definitely an up-and-coming team. But America wants the Cowboys. But DC's not a slouch of a market. You know what I mean? It's not like the Milwaukee Brewers or DC's a legit market. But okay, whatever, the Cowboys. The Cowboys are always going to be fun for a large portion of football's population because they can just cheer against them. This is something that I've found on my show. Brian and Gene, both of you will understand this, is people my parents' age or even younger than my parents, they hate the Cowboys because of the 90s. Because the Cowboys beat the tar out of the Packers. Right. They were always in the way of the Packers. And I just didn't grow up with that experience. So I view the Cowboys as kind of this loser team. Like, I don't wake up in the morning angry at the Cowboys like some people who are slightly older because of what they did to the Packers in the 90s. So the Cowboys are, I'm like, oh, like they're making the Cowboys play on national TV and they're going to get their butt kicked again. Like, it's just a different thing if you're slightly younger.
I don't have a care in the world for the Cowboys. They had a dynasty in the 90s, much like the 49ers, much like a lot of teams throughout, the history of the NFL. And it's over. And I don't, It
is over. But still, aren't they still called America's team?
But Jerry doesn't even care at this point. He just wants everyone talking about the Cowboys. He loves the drama. He knows he's not going to put a winner out there, especially with Dak Prescott as his quarterback. They're never going to win anything with that guy.
And Brian Schottenheimer is the coach. We got a shot with Schotty. I forgot they even hired him. What a forget. And he might be great. I don't know, but that's not exactly sexy. But Cowboys Eagles Thursday night. Here's the great thing about the opener of the NFL, Brian and Gene. That game is going to rule always, no matter what, because the NFL's just got this thing figured out. It doesn't matter. They could schedule the two worst teams. It'll be a classic.
Yeah, and I like the fact that it's the defending NFL, champion, and again, usually against either a division rival or Patriots Colts, which we had for a number of years. One of those, conference rivals or a team that made it far into the playoffs. Some kind of playoff rematch between the Bills and the Chiefs or whatever. It's genius, and they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, and the good news for the Cowboys is they're not supposed to win that game. You're not. That game, the opening game, and this goes into the NBA as well, the opening night game where the defending champions raise the banner and they get the rings, they do all the things, the universe is programmed that night for that team to win. So the Cowboys will start 0-1, and it won't really be their fault. It won't be that big of a deal. That game is rigged. It's designed to be a celebration of the Super Bowl champion or the finals champions. Right. So whatever. The Cowboys don't really have to. Yeah. That's a great term. They're literally the sacrificial lamb of the league's opening night. That's a perfect way to put it.
Grant Bills, host of the Wisco Sports Show, heard weekday afternoons from 4 until 6 on stations throughout the state of Wisconsin, like WKTY and La Crosse, and Sports Talk 105.1 in Eau Claire. Let's talk about Packers rookie mini trade. Have you got anything from that? I mean, I know you're kind of finger on the pulse guy for that.
Oh yeah, big time. Well, there have been some interesting developments. I don't know if you saw that Elton Jenkins supposed to move to center. At least that's what the Packers GM said at the Combine yesterday. The offensive coordinator tells us, yeah, he's open to it. He's not at off-season mini camp. We don't know why. I think it's contract related, but he was also in a little bit of an incident in a strip club down in Atlanta. I don't know if you read about this.
Yeah, I heard a sprinkling of this, yes.
He wanted a refund. He got the refund. Doesn't seem like a big deal. So that's going on. Jaden Reed apparently met with Brian Gutekunst alongside his agent to make sure his role was secure as the Packers' number one wide receiver, which is like, okay, sure. Like, hey, Brian and Gene, am I secure as your number one guest at 8:20 on Tuesdays? Can I get that in writing, please? That's kind of the same thing. Like, it's just a silly thing to worry about.
Well, but that's,
those are the big stories.
You're affecting their bottom line. You know what I mean? They're going to put that on all their promotional products, and that's how they make their money, is in those advertisements. I'm the number one receiver for the Packers. I got to get this ad, and I got to be on this promotion, and,
Catch the ball. Like, just catch the ball, and the rest will take care of itself. I swear, my generation, they always want to skip steps. I want to be the number one guy. Well, if you play like a number one guy this year, that will take care of itself.
Yes.
Catch the ball and just do your job, to use a patriotism, Simpson.
You're welcome.
That'll take care of itself. So I rolled my eyes a little bit at that story yesterday, and we still have no clue what's going on with Jair Alexander, the Packers corner. I thought they were going to trade him. It seemed like he was going to be back. The defensive coordinator, Jeff Hafley, was asked about him yesterday, and he's like, I'm not going to say anything. I don't know. It's like that whole thing is so bizarre.
Next up, the Giannis stuff. Not a lot there, obviously, but yesterday the world became known. Everybody in the world knew that Giannis is now open to suggestions.
He says, I could.
Yeah, it's not exactly earth-shattering breaking news. It's something, though, right? And it's something that's not a surprise to anyone. Again, and Bucks fans have been saying this, if there was ever a time that it made sense for Giannis to think about leaving, now would be the time. And the report is yesterday, conveniently at the start of the news cycle, at the beginning of the work week for ESPN and the like, and the beginning of the NBA scouting combine, we're told, hey, Giannis maybe is thinking about possibly leaving. Could be, maybe, possibly. So that kind of got the ball rolling. But a huge day in the NBA yesterday.
Yeah.
A huge day. The way the lottery went, what happened to the Celtics and Jason Tatum's injury, like a massive, like, paradigm shifting day in the NBA yesterday. So
now I don't know if you're old enough. You were born in the 90s, right?
Correct.
So
the very late 90s.
So I'm
not technically a 90s kid.
You weren't alive for the Patrick Ewing thing, the frozen
No, I was not.
the frozen envelope and all that stuff.
I was not.
Are you aware of that whole scenario?
Yeah, and it's one of the lotteries that people look at as like, if there was evidence that it's rigged, like, we're starting.
What are you hearing about this year's draft lottery and the whole suspicion that it may have been rigged?
Well, people are going to have their suspicions. People are angry because they think the Mavs didn't deserve it. And right. I suppose, look, if we're looking at the percentages, they didn't. I'm not sure, since they adjusted the way this thing works, I'm not sure the worst team has gotten the first overall pick once, which seems like a problem to me. I know we don't want to reward tanking, but even if you make the lottery odds fluid as they are now, bad teams are still going to be incentivized to be bad because it's their best option. So I don't know that it's curbed tanking. It's a little odd because the picks falling 1 through 4 in the way they did, the percent was like 1 or 2%. Like, this was a miracle that it happened, but yet those things seem to happen a lot, which seems fishy. I also just don't feel bad for any of the teams involved. If you suck and your whole game plan as a franchise is to suck and draft, you get what you deserve. And if there's antics in the lottery, then that's your problem because you stink. So maybe the Mavs didn't deserve it, but in my opinion, neither did the other 3 in the top 4.
Let's move on to the topic du jour. It's been a hot news item the last couple of weeks, the whole Bill Belichick situation.
Yeah.
And it's gotten even thicker and deeper down there, as there was a report by Pablo Torre, I believe late last week, that she was not allowed at UNC.
They don't want her there.
The school came out with a statement about 10 seconds afterwards and said, I don't know what the hell Pablo Torre's talking about, but she's welcome here. And then Belichick's talking to a PR guy, and she didn't win Miss Maine, and it's just a scene, man. And what the hell's going on? What do you hear? What's the latest? What do you know?
I can't get enough of this story. I think it's endlessly entertaining. Some sports fans might say, "Oh, that's smut." But it's awesome. It's great. And the Bill Belichick thing du jour, this has been going on for weeks now, but the most interesting thing to me this week, forget the Pablo Torre report and all that stuff, like, I'm amazed that, the 7 or 8 time, if you count his coordinating championships, the 8-time Super Bowl champion Bill Belichick, 7 times as head coach, is spending his weekend at a Marriott or a DoubleTree in New Hampshire or in Maine watching a beauty pageant. That blows my mind. Well, I can't imagine
he was sitting with her parents, too, right? Wasn't he sitting with her dad? What the hell do you talk to when you're older than her dad?
Yeah, I don't...
Hey, that daughter of yours, huh? Something else.
Look, it's one thing to have an arrangement, a younger woman who wants money and you want company. Like, that's fine, but it doesn't have to be... It's like they're high school sweethearts. That's how they're behaving, and it's so weird, and it's in everyone's face, and... Like, does he just, Simpson, you know Belichick, does he just not care that much?
I think he cares, but he'll never, ever ever tell you that he cares. He'll never even let on that he cares. He internalizes all that stuff, and then he
puts it on Instagram.
Well, she does, and yeah, but it's.
Oh, he doesn't see all that stuff.
It's a scene.
I have an account, but I don't.
It's a scene, but this whole thing, I think there's some elder abuse going on here. The sports talk radio that I listen to, there was a guy that called in, and he's like a financial planner for old people, and talking about how this is the road, the path that all these seniors go down when they get involved with younger women, when the family starts to get X'd out of the will, and they got to start asking questions, and they try to protect. And you hate to look at it that way because it makes the kids look like they're gold digging. But like, man, we're this guy's kids. Like, we were in line. We didn't do anything. We got born to him, and he's our dad, and we love him. And then all of a sudden, this bird swoops in and steals all the money, and what the hell's left for us? So
are they going to be at UNC? Are they really going to be coaching?
I've heard reports he's not even going to coach a game, that he's not even going to make it to the field. Like, he's down there doing the whole thing, and then he may not even get on the field.
I said this after the Monday after the CBS story came out, the Monday or Tuesday, I said, it feels like a 50-50 chance he actually makes it to week 1 of the college season, because this is so weird. And now that people have their teeth sunk into this, it's a story. And Simpson, the sports calendar will not get busier over the next couple of months. It's not like all of a sudden we're going to have other things to talk about. It's going to get slower, which means people might get more interested in this girl and this relationship and the story. It's weird. And maybe I've heard people talk about this. Maybe this is something you guys have discussed. Are you aware with the fin-dom fetish, financial domination? It's something these old rich men love. Like, just take my money. Yes. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's what gets me going. So maybe that's what's at play here. It's very, very weird. And it's a story that I just can't get enough of.
I don't think it's anything more than Belichick's an old, horny guy who's got all the money in the world and all the fame and doesn't need anything really, and he's got a young girl that's doing all that stuff that he likes to have done, and it's a very nice relationship. I mean, it's the not that she's working or whatever, but they've figured it out and said, hey, look, here's how it's going to work, and that's it. But
well, now I know what I'm doing this afternoon with FinDom. Thank you. I was not aware of Dom. I was not aware of that whole thing, and that's
Grant
now
apparently has big plans for the rest of his life.
This is a sexual
you start putting that money away, Grant.
A fetish about money. I can't even understand it, but okay.
That is a rich person problem.
That is a rich person problem.
That's how I know my girlfriend loves me for me. I don't have to go to bed worried about that.
That's a weird particular practice.
Well, and Belichick's probably saying, well, I can't take it with me when I'm gone, which is the kid's issue. They're like, yeah, Dad, but you're not supposed to spend it all while you're here, especially not on her.
Well, it'd be different if the kids weren't already, established in their own. I mean, the Belichick sons they'll be fine. They got coaching gigs of their own, and they've got the Belichick name, so it's not like they're ever gonna be hard up or whatever. But certainly, you'd like to get a little piece of Dad's action before he goes.
Wow, is that a rich person problem or what? Holy
Grant
moly.
Bills, host of the Wisco Sports Show, heard every weekday afternoon from 4 until 6 on stations across the state like WKTY in La Crosse and Sports Talk 105.1 in Eau Claire. Always a pleasure. Have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you a week from now, okay?
The pleasure is mine. I always look forward to this. One of my favorite things every week. Thank you both.
There he is, the one and only Grant Bills. We've got bad news, happy music coming up next.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. More from Brian and Gene is coming up.
You're about to enter a beautiful, exciting, wonderful new world.
A cockroach living in your nostril. Now that's just nasty. Add in some haven't pooped for 30 days.
Poop is raining from the ceilings. Poop.
And sprinkle in some hashtag Florida Man for flavor.
Florida Man.
Florida Man.
Florida Man.
Florida Man.
Florida Man.
Florida Man.
Florida Man quits his Burger King job, steals all of their chicken nuggets.
It's bad news.
Bad news.
With happy music.
Let's rock.
28-year-old Maryland woman facing charges after she ignored a cop and drove through a street fair on Saturday because she needed to go to work. Now, admirable. Didn't want to miss work. Didn't want to be late. Didn't want to get penalized. But you can't drive through traffic.
Well, like a art fair?
Like the streets are shut down. There's people
and stuff's happening.
Her name is Kai DeBerry Bostic. And this is in Laurel, Maryland, about halfway between Baltimore and D.C. Cops had the street blocked off with yellow tape, and her BMW was on a side street with no way out. She told a cop that she just needed to get through real quick, but he said no. He offered to call her a cab, but she works in Virginia, so it wasn't going to be a short ride.
I apologize for the inconvenience. I'd be happy to call you a taxi. Fortunately,
I don't have to come back. I just need to get out. I gotta go.
I'm telling you right now.
Oh, I gotta go to work. What do you want me to do? I have to go to work.
You cannot get out. Stop your car. Stop.
Excuse me.
Stop.
Excuse me, y'all. What?
There's a lady running down the street now in a BMW. Stop.
Yeah.
Get out of the car.
She basically decided, no, I'm not going to stop. I'm just going to drive through you and all the other people in the road. And she eventually got out of the car, tore the police tape, then started driving forward, even though the cop was standing in front of her car. He ended up having to move so that he didn't get run over. People at the fair panicking, thinking she was about to plow through the crowd, which we've seen a number of times. Just happened in, Toronto a couple weeks ago? She never got fast enough and didn't get that far. There's chest cam footage of the whole entire thing. She stopped when a bunch of firefighters stood in the way. Then the cop ripped her out of the car and handcuffed her. According to the police, the cop suffered minor injuries. Not clear how or when or what happened with him, but obviously it was in the scuffle. She was in court yesterday facing multiple charges, including second-degree assault and resisting arrest. But apparently it's a little bit murkier than the way it's portrayed. Her lawyer told the judge she'd been instructed to park on the side street the night before by someone, and they said she'd be able to get out for work the next morning. Her lawyer said she panicked, thinking she'd get in trouble at work, wasn't thinking clearly. Also noted that she's a former honor student, no criminal history, argued that weekend in jail would be punishment enough. Judge disagreed, however, said there's more than reckless because an officer was hurt, so they didn't release her on bail. She's still behind bars. Trial is set for July 18th. Probably not going to have that job when she gets out.
No, probably not. But can you imagine if she did know that this thing was going on and she did ask where to, and they did tell her what to do, and then get down there and it can't be done?
Well, that was my assumption with the whole Scotty Scheffler thing. And my assumption was that some other officer way down the line either recognized him or heard him say, hey, I'm Scotty Scheffler, I got to tee off here in a bit. Can I? And they said, yeah, go ahead, go on through. And by the time he got to the front of the line where the other cops were, they didn't get the message, and that's where the dust-up occurred. That was my assumption. I don't know if that's the case, but that might have been the same thing here, where somebody there, some official that was handling...
You'll be okay here in this location,
out.
And you'll be able to get out, and we're going to make sure that you'll be able to get to work.
That's what her side of the story is. But either way, you still can't drive through traffic like that, or drive. You call work and say, hey, look, man, I'm stuck. They won't let me out. I don't know what to tell you.
You can talk to the officer. Here's a picture of my car. Here's a picture of the officer.
Right. A man in Ohio checked out 100 books out of the library. That's a lot of reading. A lot. I mean, you could read a book a day, right?
And then what? Never brought them back? Why is this a story?
Well, he apparently planned to burn them in a social media post.
Oh.
The library is now going to wait for those books to become overdue, so then they can charge the man the full $1,700 to replace them.
Is that what George Washington had in mind when he started America? It's like, read something sad, learn a book.
A representative of the Cuyahoga County Public Library contacting police about the man and his suspicious behavior. The man went into the Beechwood Library branch, applied for a library card. Once the card was approved, he checked out 50 books on topics that included, and you'll understand why he wanted to burn them real quick, Jewish history, African American history, and LGBTQ education. The following day, CCPL, which is the library people down there, heard from the Princeton University Bridging Divides Initiative, a group that monitors and reports suspected hate crimes on social media. They informed the library people that this man had posted a photo to the social media site on April 3rd, showed a car trunk full of books with the caption relating to cleansing the libraries. The books in the car trunk photo appeared to match those that the man had checked out. They had the CCPL stickers on them. The man then returned to the library about a week later
to check out more books,
to withdraw 50 more books on similar topics. During the encounter, the man told the librarian that his son was part of the LGBTQ community and he was trying to learn more about it by checking out 100 books. You're going to know everything about it. You read 100 books in a week's time. Librarian found his behavior to be odd and concerning, didn't make any threats. Shortly after, they got in contact with each other again, this time stating that the man had posted a video to social media in which he was burning all 100 of the library's books.
The following conversation never happened. The book exists.
Where is it?
Well, where else to keep a book? In the Library of Congress.
In the library. That's what it is.
They, of course, contacted police and wanted to know more. Police said that because a contract was entered when the books were borrowed, failure to return to pay for the books would become a civil matter turned over to the city prosecutor. So, no criminal charges, and the only thing they can really do is charge this guy with the late fees and hope they recover some of their money.
Mm-hmm. To replace the books.
Yeah. This is an advertisement for iPhones, and if it isn't, I don't know what is. Did you hear about this guy?
No, but to save his life or something?
Nope. How high up are you when you skydive?
Too far. Why would you jump out of a perfectly good airplane? I don't know, 4,000 feet? Am I right?
Try 14,000 feet.
14,000 feet.
Skydiver, 14,000 feet in the air. Lost his iPhone as he's skydiving to Earth. Found it. Still works.
Honestly, I'm on my way to find my phone in a forest. It is 3 miles away.
I just found it. Yeah. Oh, it still works. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a win.
That has a case on it, like one of those.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, mine's got the OtterBox on it. I don't know if I could drop it from 14,000 feet though. I mean, at some point it hits maximum velocity, and it's gonna, no matter what it does. Maybe it hits a branch or two on the way down, but. Casey Flay is the guy's name, an engineer, skydiving enthusiast in the UK, jumped out of an airplane 40,000 feet without closing one of the front pockets on his wingsuit, which caused his iPhone 13 Pro Max to fall out almost immediately after. And he's, oh man, here was my phone. That's like $900. It was only after searching for it that he decided to use the Find My Phone app to learn that his handheld was located about 4 miles from where he landed, and the phone still worked when they showed up. He said, I brought my phone in my wingsuit just in case the others couldn't find me when I landed. I left my pocket open, and my front helmet camera, you can see it sticking out. It just flies off when I jump. Gone. I didn't even know where it had gone. I thought I'd left it on the plane. Nobody could see it on the plane, so I used my Find My Phone app and saw it was in the forest. I walked about 30 minutes to the location, and biggity bam.
Found it, and it still works.
That's an iPhone commercial for you right there.
It is.
Or OtterBox commercial.
Too bad it
didn't
take pictures on its way down.
Streaming. Bad news, happy music, last one. The rumor, and I don't know if it's true, but you talk to enough of these people, they'll tell you the same thing, that the rumor is that Amazon does not give its employees, specifically drivers, delivery drivers, time for bathroom breaks.
Yeah. Oh, I've heard tell of that.
It's almost like an old wives' tale at this point. So there's got to be some truth to this, right?
I would think so.
Smoke, fire, the whole 9 yards. Well, the female Amazon delivery driver, it's kind of rare that you...
Also doesn't have time to take a bathroom break. Is that what you're saying?
Was caught on security camera going to the restroom on the steps of a family's front porch in California on Sunday morning. She appears to do a number 1 and a number 2. The homeowner says they also found some dirty paper towels on their property, but that's not all.
When I woke up, my husband said he was going to bring me some coffee and a pastry. He went downstairs and was greeted by not only one package, but a second inappropriate, disgusting package, which was essentially like human feces and looked to be urination. I kind of like clutched my pearls a little bit because I'm like, really? A second time? It was kind of like, wow, still not done.
She probably had Taco Bell before.
Oh, the kids. The kids for the diarrhea joke. The diarrhea joke from the kids. Apparently, the same Amazon delivery woman was caught on another family's camera about a mile away, peeing on their brick walkway, right next to where she apparently delivered the package. And, you know, they got to take pictures of these things.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, she apparently was able to crop out her own desecration out of the picture. Amazon confirming that the driver was a contractor working for them.
They hire those all the time.
And in a statement, they said, we are deeply disturbed by the unacceptable behavior of this delivery driver and apologize for customers involved.
I'm the party pooper.
We immediately identified the driver that they are no longer delivering on behalf of Amazon. either she really had to go and you're out there in the wild and it's in a neighborhood and there's no porta potties, no restrooms, no park, no nothing.
Nothing. You can't
get
drive
a
to
bush,
a gas station. You can't drive to some place that has that.
Or they
That's
don't
her
give you
thing.
or she's got some kind of fetish with this thing, or that's her move. Or they don't give you any time, so you got to just sort of make time when you have a second. I'm taking the picture. I might as well poop here while I'm
on their front porch, right next to the packages.
Or,
I just
or
delivered.
like the kid said, maybe she had some Taco Bell the night before.
Poop again. He called the shit poop.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is that I've thought about like doing some kind of delivery driving part time, for something, whether it's Uber, Lyft, something. Because it's like, you just sit in your car and you drive around, you drop packages off or pick people up. And every time I think of these things, I'm just, I don't want to be caught up in all that.
Well, and then you got the people driving people around. Then
I've rethought that many. Yeah, I don't want people. It would be like a late morning, early afternoon, less chance of some drunken craziness.
Yes,
you know what I mean,
still
during the week. But then people, smelly people,
talkative people.
Oh God, I can't. Get in the car and just start asking me about my day.
Yes.
So you from here?
Chit chat.
Which is exactly what we do when we get into a stupid Uber or Lyft.
Well, it's human nature.
Yeah.
So how long you been driving?
Except for the one lady in Nashville. There was one lady who was very serious, and you could tell she didn't want to have any kind of and it was fine. It was a nice ride. We got there quickly. She had a very herky-jerky way of hitting the gas and brake.
She didn't want to talk, and
which
you didn't want to talk to her.
I didn't really like, but it was a quiet ride, and we didn't talk to her.
Mm-hmm.
And that was fine. But you knew. I mean, like, you could kind of tell when you got in. It was all business.
No means no with conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I want strangers in my car. Bad news, happy music on Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. We'll get to our daily check-ins after Godsmack.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find them online at rockmornings.com. Call.
Hello.
Email.
I tried emailing you.
Text. So many ways to check in with us. Check. We rely on you guys for traffic updates, requests, and all sorts of other stuff.
Check this out.
Speaking of emails, got one from Mark earlier. Said, good morning, Brian and Gene. Today is my birthday. Wondering if you could play some Texas Hippie Coalition. Can't wait to see them in June. Played your song. Also looking forward to seeing them in June at the Big River Rally.
June 27th is that performance. The 28th will be Drowning Pool. A bunch of fun bands. Bobby Friss is playing. Hillbilly Rocket Ship, the BT Band. So a lot of good musical entertainment as part of that weekend. Tickets are $30 for the whole weekend. That includes a stunt show. We talked to Pat earlier this morning. He's like a 14-time winner of awesome trick motor bike stuff.
Yeah. Moto Motion Entertainment stunt show is going to be a part of Big River Rally. And you can check out our interview, by the way, with Pat Smaggi online at rockmornings.com.
Clydesdale's coming.
Zach earlier this morning wanted to hear some Cake. Said, I know you love them. I do, and played that. Thank you. Jim texted in, said, put that guy under the prison. I think he was talking about the Gary Day guy from Arkansas that abducted Sophia Franklin.
Well, they were charging him federally now.
Yep. Maggie in Prairie du Chien said, I love a little cake in the morning. Ogre texting in about the Crocs and the dishwasher guy. Said people need to mind their own. If dude wants to put a manure shovel in with his dishes, don't go to his house for supper. If you don't want to wash a mixed load, then don't. Boy, Ogre took that real personal.
Mm-hmm. He sure did. I wouldn't do it either, but I'd put them in the washing machine.
Well, if you got Crocs and they got poop on them, you rinse them off outside, then you throw them in the dishwasher or the washing
machine.
Corbin sent in a link. And it's for a dryer vent clean out, and you can use a leaf blower instead of vacuuming. I kind of scooped and vacuumed because you can basically fit your arm inside of the tube.
So you went like
and you just kind of rake down the pill and the lint and the congestion that's in there. And
it's put a leaf blower underneath it and shoot it out.
But yeah, this guy, he's got a leaf blower attached to it, and looks like they clamped it to the leaf blower, and it's shooting it out the dryer vent in the outside of the house. And they're just kind of grabbing it and pulling it. But big fire hazard. I'm just giving you a heads up. You might want to check it.
Okay.
Not rely on it to take care of itself.
I'm just saying it falls off the back of the dryer once in a while and it shoots everywhere. Like the arms of those guys that are on the side
Sure
of that blow up to guys like that.
Thanks for listening. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. We will talk to you tomorrow.